I've created a website that allows you to create custom Superflat worlds on Bedrock. On top of that, it also allows you to create single biome worlds, and some of these are actually really quite interesting. So stick around and I'll show you what the website is and how to use it. So if you'd like to know how to use this site, it's pretty simple. The URL is https superflat.crackmagnet.com, and you just choose a world type, whether it be custom superflat or single biome. So I'll show you just custom superflat here, and there is a massive list of blocks to choose from. So this is isn't exactly the most user-friendly interface, particularly for mobile, but you don't have to do this very often. So it's only when you're creating a new world. So you can have all sorts of things in here, even blocks that don't make a lot of sense, like these lit blast furnaces, things like that. So some of these blocks may not actually work properly, because it's not like I've gone and tested them all or anything. But yeah, you can quite happily have, let's just add like 20 netherrack and maybe some bedrock at the bottom. Now, you can obviously start typing on PC, just to skip you to a place in the list. Now, in terms of things like some things have the color first and some have them after. I'm not sure which way round was best, but things like concrete and concrete powder, I did them that way just because there's actually only one concrete block, but it has different data IDs with it, so I had to split them all out. Yeah, there's quite a few things like that actually, like the glass panes as well. Anyway, so another handy feature is that you can put some air at the bottom to bring the Y level up so that slimes don't spawn. So you just click that and it'll just add that air. And it'll also adjust that air if you were to add any extra blocks. So for example, if I was gonna, I don't know. Yeah, so say we do blue concrete, add that. Now it adds it to the top of the list. I wasn't too sure whether or not the top or the bottom would be better. I might in the future have two add buttons, one to add to the top and one to add to the bottom. But we'll see how we go. Yep, and your name. So now you can put a seed in. You may have seen Toycat doing that in his videos with a text seed. That doesn't work. It will just ignore it and give you a random one. So it only works with numeric seeds. So you can put whatever you want in there. This biome doesn't do a lot, I don't think, but it is an actual setting. It has, if you set it to something like basalt delta or something, it will give you the particle effects. So it'll affect grass color, things like that, but I don't know if it'll affect mobs at all. It might. I haven't really tested it that well. So yeah, so then you just generate and you'll get an MC world file. So what it does, it creates the settings from a world as if you had exported it, but it's got no chunks in it. So you can literally just open that up. On mobile, it works pretty well. It'll just prompt you to say open in Minecraft, at least on iOS. And here you see the world import starts and has finished. And because I've just updated, all of this stuff is coming up. Right, so this 1.19.81, so that's the latest at the time, at least on this platform. And here's our test world that's been imported, so you just go into it. Now, I have seen some strange messages, and I'm not sure whether they're to do with things that I've got set up about resource packs not loading. So, yeah, do this sort of stuff with a grain of salt, because this is basically not really tested. It's there is distinct possibility you could create world-breaking, flat world setups. Anyway, so what we've got here, so the bonus chest I've just put on by default. 'Cause, if you're doing survival, then you're going to need it. So as you can see, we've got your blue concrete. We're in survival. Interestingly enough, if we go to settings here, you'll notice that that message that says that you can't get achievements is missing, and if you try to go to creative, it warns you. So achievements are on. I'm not sure if that happens if you made the map another way. But yeah, as you can see here, so what do we do? 20 layers of Nevac or something. Yeah, so let me just jump into creative. Yeah, so that's all there and whatnot. Now, you'll notice that the Y level, so normally a Superflat would, a newly created one at least, would be right down at sort of Y minus 60 something. But this is up at Y40. You stand at Y40. So that's just at the point where the slimes won't spawn. So if you were to find a slime chunk and dig down one block, they'd then be able to spawn in that place. So yeah, that's just an interesting piece of information. So what you can do also is you can leave this up and decide that you want something different. Let's say let's pick one of the blocks that does something a little bit weird. Furnace. So let's add a layer of furnaces to the top of that, and let's just hit generate again. We'll get a new world file, and we can just import that. Boom, and here it is. That toast pop up at the top. Yeah, it actually imports almost instantly. You don't actually have to wait for that. And here we are. And furnace world. So the reason I pulled this one up is because if I do something like, say, grab these planks and try to place them down, I can't. And the reason for that is the blocks exist, but the block entities don't. So it's trying to interact with the furnace, but it can't. So you have to shift place. Now, the block entities only seem to occur on new chunks. So if I save and quit and then go back into that same world, I imagine we'll probably be able to open those furnaces. And there we go. Now we can open the furnaces. So when it reloads the chunks after they're generated, it actually creates the block entities so that the interactions and things can actually work. So this actually has an interesting effect. So you may have seen on ToyCat's video the thing with the skulk. So if we just jump back over and add a skulk layer. SC, isn't it? Right. Skulk sensors. So add a layer of skulk sensors. Generate again. And there we go. And there's the new world. So when you first load into the world, you'll notice that none of these skulk sensors are doing anything. Alright. It's also interesting that how the torches didn't generate. Probably because it's not a valid block for it to go on, but it surprises me that it checked. But yeah, okay. Anyway, so that's that. But if I exit out and jump back into that world, what we're going to find is that these skulk sensors will start going nuts. There you go. So, but they'll only go nuts out to a point. See, these chunks weren't actually saved. It didn't bother saving them. Even though it rendered them, it generated them, it didn't save them because they hadn't been modified. It's one of the things they do, I believe, to keep the world file sizes down. Right, so let's have a look at the other world type. So we can jump over and we can go single biome world. Now, obviously a lot less settings here, but you can choose pretty much whatever you want. Now, be aware that the terrain stays the same for whatever the seed would be. So, for example, if you choose windswept savanna, you're not going to get that really high terrain everywhere. You know, that really weird sort of spiky bits everywhere. Because this does not control the actual terrain generation. What it'll do is it'll give you the grass and whatever else. Now, structures do spawn, and they are related to, so let's just do a desert one. So anything that can spawn in a desert will spawn in terms of structures. So random seed should be fine. So if I go desert, boom, here's the desert one. And here's your desert single biome seed. Now, what this has the effect of doing is you can end up with massive mountains up to like, Y256 potentially, because as I said before, the terrain doesn't change. It also means that if you selected an ocean biome, you still get land. It's just that none of the mobs will spawn because they're all supposed to be aquatic mobs, and aquatic mobs don't spawn unless there's water. Right, so let's just I'll jump into creative so we can fly around and find some structures just to show that that does actually work. Where are we? So because all of the village ones will succeed, there should be villages pretty much everywhere. Oh well, if all else fails. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, that way-ish. So there should be... Oh, there it is. Yeah, so as you can see, the villages spawn. So the strongholds under them will spawn as well. But bear in mind that the opposite is also true. So if we were to decide to do, and this would be actually probably one of the more brutal challenges you could try do in Minecraft, you could try do a completion on Deep Dark only. Because, yes, the Warden does actually get summoned. Yeah, so if we run that with Deep Dark, generate that. Yeah, it's actually quite kind of cool. So this does not have the same issues that the Superflat does with the blocks not generating properly. So all the skulk sensors and shriekers and things actually do the jobs. With the Superflats, if you put shriekers in, they don't summon the Warden because the default value is that they don't. So unfortunately, you can't do something like that. But as you can see, now you notice there's a lot of grass there, but that's just where the deep slate would be in a normal Deep Dark. It's just use the default block for that sort of Y level. Yeah, so you've got your chest and whatnot. So if we find, I mean, there's got to be a shriek around here somewhere, right? Oh yeah, and there's a sensor. So yeah, as you can see, shriek works. And yeah, you get the whole darkness effect, and I think you sort of saw that in Toycat's video, although we didn't actually wait for the Warden to turn up. But yeah, this works. Now, if you were going to do a completion challenge on for Deep Dark, you would have to be targeting non-village strongholds. So you're going to have to throw your eyes and find them, because no villages will spawn, which will make it even more challenging. The ancient cities should be there though. So after the Warden turns up, oh, there he is. Hey, buddy. How you doing? Bad day? Got a hangover? Oh, am I being too loud? Oh, yeah. So, there's your Warden. But of course, respawning won't be that far away from that. Anyway, so if I just chuck this into creative. Right, so let's have a look at spectator. We've got any mountains around here? Yeah, those might be high enough to... We're probably a little coastal for ancient cities, but anyway, let's just see what we've got. So as you can see, sort of underground, all the caves are all Deep Dark. It's actually quite an interesting setup. So yeah, so here you can see, yep. So here's the ancient cities. So yeah, you could definitely do a run with Deep Dark only, and I imagine that would be quite challenging. Because yeah, cooldown on the Warden summoning thing, it takes 10 minutes for it to drop back 1 warning level. So if you go back to grab your gear and you make a single sound, the Warden will come straight back. And of course 10 minutes is what it takes for your gear to despawn. So it's, it can be quite challenging. Yeah, so this will hopefully open up some more interesting options for new gameplay.